Welcome to Creepy and Geeky. I'm your host, Robert, and on today's episode, I'm talking to returning guest Cat Voleur about the Blackcoat's daughter in the first episode in a series on Osgood Perkins movies. Cat Voleur is a horror author with such books as Revenge Arc, My Apologies to Tanya Grace, and her upcoming nonfiction debut, Queer Tastes. She is also the co-host of the Nick Effin Woo Cagecast, Willem Dafoe. Welcome back to the show, Cat.
Thanks for having me. Always a
Yeah,
pleasure.
definitely. Always great to have you on, especially because you're always saving my bacon, and again this time as well. You know, volunteering your time to come on whenever I need you at the last minute. So I appreciate that. um, but yeah, this is like I said, this is the first episode in a four-episode series on Osgood Perkins movies. I'm not covering all of his movies, just kind of you know, the ones that I've seen. um, so
That's a way to
which
do it.
yeah. So Blackcoat's daughter this week, and then the next 3 weeks will be Long Legs, the monkey, and Keeper. So
So
I,
like the good ones.
yeah, I haven't seen the other two, but I know for sure these four are good ones. So I was just like, okay, I'll do a quick month-long look at his movies. I think these are the ones that are most indicative of his style of filmmaking too.
Yeah.
The Blackcoat's Daughter is his first movie that he made as a director. And because he's also an actor who's been in, a few things, most notably the the first Legally Blonde movie, which is hilarious. Um, which I like that movie. I mean, you know, it's a good movie. If you like goofy comedies, go check it out.
I also
Um,
like Legally Blonde. My partner was giving me a tough time recently because I don't know if this is relevant to the podcast or if I should be talking about it because it's embarrassing. I recently at trivia night gave some like wildly inaccurate answers about rom-com filmography. And I'm usually like the movie person, but
mhm.
it's localized to like a few genres. So I was getting a tough time about not being like particularly well-rounded. And it's like, you know what? I've seen the good ones.
Yeah,
I've seen
yeah.
like all the good, like goofy girly comedies that I need to see. I've seen Legally Blonde, I've seen Devil Wears Prada,
Yeah.
I've seen The Decoy Bride. I've it's fine. We're fine. But yeah, I was recently defending because I think a lot of people assume that I don't like Legally Blonde because it's
Mm,
not, on brand for me, but
yeah,
no, it's
yeah.
really good.
Yeah, no, I love like good comedies. And the assorted rom-com that fits into that genre, is always
Yeah.
good. So, but yeah, like you, I tend to gravitate towards the better ones. I've seen my share of like not so good ones, but yeah.
I
Yeah.
also, when I went on my little like speech about how I do sometimes watch other films, I left out that Osgood Perkins was in Legally Blonde. I did not think that was going to help my case,
Yeah, true, true.
but you know,
But no, uh this was his first, and it was at the actual original name for this was called February. And I guess the studio that put it out didn't like it, or producers didn't like that name, so they had it changed to the Blackcoat's Daughter. Which is just weird because, like, why? It has nothing to do with the movie.
yeah.
The movie is set in February. That's the whole reason why it's called February. Um, so anyway, but no, and this one's got Kieran Shipka, Emma Roberts, and I forget the other girl's name, like the other major girl in this. Um, do, 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 do.
I didn't know her from anything except
No, I
this,
didn't. Yeah,
so.
exactly. I didn't know her from anything either. Let's see. I am trying to look it up real quick.
I
Um,
also hadn't seen this movie since it came out, so when I went to rewatch it, I was like, I'm pretty sure Emma Roberts is in this. And then when she showed up and it's like, I don't think that's Emma Roberts. Did I invent that? Um,
Yeah, this Lucy Boynton is the other actress in this.
And I
Uh,
I don't know her from anything else, but she is very good in this. She's not like
yes,
it's, you know.
yeah, I've heard her name before in other things. She's apparently in Bohemian Rhapsody, um, and Murder on the Orient Express, among other things. Apparently she was in Barbie, which again, everybody was in Barbie, so who knows? Um, but
Another
yeah.
chick flick that I like.
Oh, I love Barbie.
Stopping
Barbie's
the
awesome.
slander.
She's apparently Proust Barbie. So, I don't remember that one, but okay. Um, but yeah, no, it's very well done. Yeah, Emma Roberts, yeah, when she first popped up, I was like, because I remembered her being in the movie as well. And I this was only my second time watching it. And I actually had to rent it because I didn't have it and it wasn't available for streaming anywhere. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna have to rent this. Um, but um, but it's but it's a good movie. It's a good first effort. Let's see. I think I gave it 3 stars. The first time. Yeah, I gave it 3 stars. I liked it better this rewatch than I did the first time, and I gave it 3 stars both times. Um, like I say in this in my letterbox review, it's a bit too slow burn at
Mhm.
times. There doesn't feel like there's a whole lot going on. There's an interesting sort of twist in it. Um, but it just kind of leaves a question in your mind about really what, like, why that twist. Um, but the story is basically these two girls get left at their boarding school over like the winter break, and one of them's pregnant and the other one turns out to be a Satan worshiper who's been possessed by Satan or some demon or something. I don't think she's a Satan worshiper. She just gets possessed by Satan. And then in a separate storyline, Emma Roberts' character is like obviously just kind of out of mental hospital and trying and getting a ride from this couple. Um, and she's going towards the school. Um, so you're just like, what's going on with these people? Um, so it's an interesting movie because there's a lot going on, um, even while it is kind of slow burn and stuff. Um, so what did you think of this movie, like on the first watch and then on your subsequent watch?
I will say I think I liked it a little bit less on this most recent rewatch, but I think it's because I have seen when it came out, there weren't a lot of slow burn movies that I liked.
Yeah, yeah.
I I really like the concept of slow burn horror, but I am not a huge fan usually of like how it wraps up. I feel like there's usually it escalates to a really silly degree, or there's like a big exposition dump, or like I just feel like it's a genre that's really hard to stick the landing in.
Yeah,
So at this time there was not like this was not competing against that many movies, and I was like so impressed.
yeah.
um but now I've seen I you mentioned that you think it's you've chosen the ones that are kind of more indicative of what Osgood Perkins does. And while I
Hmm.
do think this was a really good attempt and I really liked it at the time, we have seen him do this sort of building unease, I think, better in
Hmm.
subsequent films since then. So while it's like a really strong first crack at it, I think on the rewatch it's like, oh well, I've seen him do this better, I think, which is not to say that it's bad, it's just
Right.
I he's grown a lot as a director.
I think that's like kind of it's going to go into a bigger discussion in the next episode, but I really do think that Longlegs takes kind of the general ideas that he puts down in this movie, and that's
Yeah,
the movie that does it better.
I think
Um,
so.
yeah, and so I think that like whereas this one's kind of like the prototype. This one's the early film, and then like later on he gets the chance to get, maybe not a slightly better budget, but he's got more storytelling under his belt, and he's kind of just figured out, the better way to make it work. Um,
And I promise I'm not going to go off on Long Legs, which is my favorite Osgood Perkins movie. But I do
yeah,
think that like even if I had hated Blackcoat's Daughter, which I did not, I had
yeah,
a good time. I still think it's solid. It maybe hasn't held up as well, but I enjoyed it quite a bit still.
yeah,
But even if I hated it, I would not give it up for long legs. Like I'm glad that it was here so that long legs could exist, you know. Like
yeah,
this one
yeah,
really walked so that
yeah,
those
exactly.
long legs could run, you know.
Right.
Um
Run on
but
those
yeah,
long
I
legs.
completely agree. This is like a
Yeah,
really you can see the foundation of that movie here.
yeah,
And it's also I didn't pay attention. I did no research. We were talking about this coming in. I've been running around all week. I
yeah.
don't know who the director of photography was for
It is
Black Coast Daughter.
Julie Kirkwood.
But you can also see some of those same like the way that some of these shots are framed also I think is very indicative of some of the experimental shots that Osgood Perkins is getting to
Mhm.
be more known for with his last few movies.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's one of those things where it's because it's his first movie. It's definitely it's setting the tone and the ideas down that he's going to play with later, um, and to much better effect, um, including the composer of this being his brother Elvis, who goes on to also compose the music for Longlegs. Um, and then also the other movie that he did, another movie he did, not covering, which is I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House.
Yeah.
That one's a Netflix movie. So I really liked the music in this too. I like that
Yes.
really like kind of ambient, kind of atmospheric kind of music, where it's just unsettling sounds.
Um,
That really works for me.
it also really works for me. This one, I never know if this is a compliment or not, because it covers like such a strange collection of soundtracks, but I did while I was doing the rewatch, it was like I should see if I could get a copy of this score for my office because this is always like kind of the vibe that I try to keep going while I'm at work.
Yeah. No, I feel that. Like it's very, I don't know. It's yeah. I dig that kind of like, I don't know, ambient kind of drony, just just unsettling vibe.
Yeah.
Another movie that I just watched the other day that has a similar vibe to it. Its music is the new Backrooms movie. That
Ooh,
one also has that kind of just kind of ambient, creepy music vibe the whole time. So um, yeah, just give me that kind of stuff. I love that, in especially in horror movies, just because it's just like
yeah.
it just fits so well. Without being too, it's like Barbarian had that as well. Um, just
Yes,
that just kind of
I
just
did.
creepy, just weird sounds, but it's part of the music too. And it's like you're just like completely unsettled the whole time. I don't know. I dig that kind of stuff. Um, let's see. Do, 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 do. Um, 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 but going into this, like I really like Kiernan Shipka. She's one of the, like I said, she's one of the main actresses in this. I don't know anything about Lucy Boynton, so I can't say much about her career outside of this movie.
Yeah.
Which I think she's doing a great job in this. Dealing with the fact that her character is pregnant, and it like having to deal with that on top of like the weird stuff that's going on in this in this school while nobody else is there except for a couple of nurses. It's just very odd. Um, but Kieran Shipka, I think I was first exposed to her through the Sabrina show on Netflix,
Hmm.
and then eventually saw her in this and other stuff. And I think she's a really good actress, um, and she does a really good job in this, just playing just where she's just like looking off into space and just being weird and you know
I
doing a really good job of being creepy the whole time.
so my introduction into Kiernan Shipka's work was in Mad Men. And
Mm,
it's really funny because she was much younger. She was like a kid in Mad Men at the start of the show. She's in all six, seven. I don't know how long that show ran. I watched all of it, but I have no idea looking back. But she was in all of them. She played the youngest daughter of the main character, and she also was kind of like, I was a big fan of her work because the show is just very strange, but she always kind of was acting like she was in a horror movie. Like like everybody else would be having like these normal 1960s conversations, and the
right.
kid would just drop some of like the most horrific things you've ever heard all the time. And I always wanted her to be cast in like a horror thing. I wasn't a
Oh, that's
huge
so
fan of
funny.
Sabrina, so I
Mm,
like I watched it and it was like, it's okay, but this isn't really what I was hoping for. So when she
mm,
showed up in this, I was very pleased because it's like this is what she was doing in Mad Men, but the whole movie is, like joining her, and I really
that's funny.
appreciate that.
That's funny. I actually did. I actually enjoyed Sabrina for the most part. I thought it was a pretty good show. But on top of that, I think she was doing a good job in Sabrina, more than anything else.
Yeah, I think
Um,
she did a really good job. I think it
yeah,
just wasn't quite what I was hoping for, you know?
yeah, yeah. No, I get that. I do think it's funny too because like basically the whole premise of Sabrina is that she, you basically gets dark powers from this, demonic Satanist creature and everything like that by writing her name in the book. So it's a very similar character, just done in different ways. Um, but I think she's really good at horror, and I think she's popped up in a bunch of different horror things.
Yeah.
And so it's really good that she keeps doing that. I love when people enjoy doing a horror. It's something I bring up often on this show. Is I really love when people embrace it and like just keep doing it, um because it's just especially people who kind of have a higher profile like that. Like I feel like she's not she's not the same kind of like I feel like she's got a higher um like what is it called, uh, I can't think of the word, but like a higher rating for people in terms of like she's able to do other movies more like not upscale, but more Hollywood style movies and stuff like that. But she
Yeah.
continues to come back to doing it. Somebody like I don't know, somebody like Georgina Campbell who keeps popping up in horror movies and
Mm.
everything, um, but isn't in like the really low budget stuff.
Yeah.
Like the like but yeah, so I think it's cool that she keeps doing more and more horror. Um, but yeah,
It's nice to
and
see.
yeah, um, and then like I said, Lucy Boynton, she's doing a great job. Emma Roberts, other than like the final scene, I feel like she's just really underplaying it, and it's for the character in a lot of ways. I'm sure that they told her just keep it all interior and everything. But it's just I don't know. I wasn't as impressed with her. Emma Roberts is for me is a really kind of hit or miss actress for me. I I don't whenever I see her, it's not an automatic sell for me. Um so
It's
it's really
interesting that you say that. I generally like Emma Roberts. I think she's been in like one or two things that I haven't liked her. But also I haven't liked those things. Like Emma Roberts has
Yeah.
never been my problem with something, you know? So
Yeah.
it's a little different, I guess. I think she's generally pretty talented. I was really impressed with her in this movie, I think,
Mm,
because a lot of the things that I know her, the two big things that I know her from are from Scream 4 and American Horror Story, which were
right.
both like very over the top, crazy, chaotic characters. So
Yes.
seeing her do something that was a little bit more down to earth and underplayed in comparison. I think this might be the role I'm most impressed with her from, just because it does kind of show that she has range.
Yeah. And this is the thing. I don't dislike her. I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah.
I think that she's really good in what she's done. I also haven't seen her in a lot of things. Like the things that I recognize her most from are obviously Scream 4. I've not seen her on American Horror Story, but I haven't watched much of that past the first season.
Yeah.
Um,
Good
but
call.
yeah, that's what I've heard. So I'm like, all right, I won't worry about that. But I thought she was hilarious in We're the Millers, which again going to comedies. And then she was on that American Horror Story adjacent show, Scream Queens,
Yeah.
which I did find her to be really good in that. But again, all these other things that she's playing very, not over the top, but very much she's acting. She's doing a great job at acting and doing that. Because I'm looking through her IMDb right now and I'm like, oh, I don't think I've seen her in anything else. So I mean, so like that's the thing. Like, but again, she's not a sell for me, like um when it comes to, oh, she's in this, I gotta check this out. Because I think she's okay in what she's been in. But and this one, like again, oh yeah, I've seen The Hunt also that she was in. But
Well,
again, she was barely in it. So um but
I we're having this conversation. It's so funny because you're like, I Emma Roberts isn't like a sell for me. I was really on the fence about The Hunt, and Emma Roberts was the thing that actually tipped the scale to get me to go see The Hunt in theaters. And I think that
that's
was the last thing I saw just for her because I
that's
was
too
so pissed off about them. Which is crazy because like she's barely in it.
yeah.
Um,
I love that movie. That movie's
but
I like
oh,
that
that
movie.
movie makes me mad. Did
Well,
not like that movie. Maybe I would have if she'd been in it more. I don't know, but
yeah. The other two major actors in this are James Remar and Lauren Holly. They're the like the
oh yeah,
couple. They're the couple who pick up Emma Roberts' character at one point. It very much like that whole part just was like, I don't know, it just seemed really creepy at first because the way he was trying to pick her up and like, take her with him. And then he's like, oh, but my wife's in the car, And so it was like, okay, but that doesn't really make it better, dude. It still sounds like you're trying to creep on this girl.
yeah,
Um, and I think that's what we were supposed to think. We were supposed to be unnerved by it and everything. At least, that's how what the feeling I got from it. Um, you could tell me differently if you thought differently, but yeah, it just I don't know. This there's not again. I don't feel like there's a lot going on in this movie. You got these two girls who are in this thing. One's pregnant. One's being weird. Um, and um, you got another girl being picked up by this couple, and they're traveling to the school. Um, and there's just a whole lot of like strangeness going on with it all. And again, very slow burn, not bad, but also not great. Like it's a very middle of the road. Which again isn't bad. like that's the thing.
yeah,
Three stars for me is very middle of the road, very much it's a good movie. After talking about it for this episode, I'm not likely to watch it again. Um, but that's okay, you know. But
I think I think there were a lot of really interesting ideas with it. There's
yeah,
just not much going on plot wise, but I
Yeah.
think it's because I he had that idea to do kind of the slow burn thing, and we see it a lot more. And I think even the parts, like the three-part kind of unconventional structure, they're
Hmm.
parts, they're not acts. It doesn't follow that like really classic format. I think the idea for that was here. We do see it executed a lot better, I think, in Long Legs. But
Yeah.
the problem with it in this one is that there was enough story to do a really tightly focused slow burn horror, and getting it from multiple perspectives I think doesn't add that much to it.
Yeah.
I think this could have been chronological and a lot, like, I don't want to say tighter, because if you tighten it up too much it loses that atmosphere, but I think
Yeah.
we could have had, it's one of those things, we could have filled that extra space of backing up a couple points to kind of add some dimension to some of the characters. I think the thing with slow burn is that you do have to know the characters really well. And that was something that was lacking a little bit for me in Blackcoat's Daughter.
Yeah. There wasn't yeah, there's not a ton of character development. And like, that's if you, yeah, I agree. I think that if you're going to have a slow burn, there needs to be that kind of character development, or there needs to be like minor payoffs earlier in the movie, like throughout the movie. Um, I know not everybody loves Hereditary, but I feel like Hereditary kind of does that well enough that there's these moments throughout that, while it's a slow burn, that there's things that are going on through that movie that keep you interested, keep you going, like these just, not necessarily shocking moments, but something to keep keep you engaged enough so you're not getting, you know, bogged down in just the atmosphere and the and or exposition if it's exposition heavy. Um
I am
so
one of those people that does not like Hereditary, but I agree with you on this point. Like, I think that's something it does very well. I
yeah.
think the first 90 minutes of Hereditary is like peak slow burn horror.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, no, I
Um,
agree. And Blackcoat's Daughter is only 94 minutes. So it should,
yeah,
you
that
should be
full,
you should be getting a beat like every like 20 minutes, like in this movie,
yeah,
like 20 to 30 minutes, you should be getting like a good beat here that keeps you just that much more engaged in it and keep going, okay, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And I argue those kind of beats are there, but also at the same time, they're just not interesting enough, I guess. Um, but again, not terrible. Like I do
no.
want, I like, that's the problem. Is like, I feel like when we talk, and it's not just you, but I feel like when we do talk, you and I, we tend to kind of pick on movies a little bit, even though we do like the movie. But I think that's what's good about movies too, is that like you can enjoy the kind of overall movie even while picking pieces apart of it. So
Yeah.
I think
I
that's
think
what.
that's also kind of the nature of film criticism, is it
Yeah,
tends to sound more negative, because you can really like something, but if there are things drawing you back and you bring up those points, it does make it sound inherently like you didn't enjoy it, which is not always the case. Like
yeah.
this does have some flaws, but I don't think it's bad. I enjoyed it both times that I've seen it. I think I might have actually seen it three times.
Mm,
Um, but the first two times were pretty close together, so
yeah,
I, fundamentally not that. But I enjoyed it all of the times that I've seen it. It does have a couple things. And as to the beats, I think something that Osgood Perkins as a director gets very good at later in his career is the sort of really uneasy shots where you're not necessarily sure what is or is not significant. I
mm,
think the issue with Blackcoat's Daughter in comparison to those is just that he's not as like there's not as much tension from the atmosphere itself. Like the setting is not contributing a lot of those fears. So these shots just don't inherently feel as scary. There are a lot of shots in Long Legs that and Longlegs is the one that I go to because I know it better. There are also a couple of shots in Keeper, I think. And I'll, you know what? Not for nothing. I'm the pretty little thing that lives in the house or whatever it's called. I haven't seen it for a while, but it also has a couple of those like really spectacular like setting shots
Mm,
where I am willing to just kind of sit there and watch a house or or the woods or,
yeah,
a barn, depending on what the movie is, because it's like these shots are just so unsettling and they're building tension very well. And you can see the pacing of that in this, but it falls a lot more flat in this than it does in some of his later work.
yeah. Yeah, I think he's kind of figured out the pacing a bit more in terms of
I,
a lot of in his at least the last three movies that he's done, because even when Keeper is um kind of like, it doesn't really drag, but there's definitely some moments in that movie where you're just like, there's not a lot going on, but then there's those moments that I was talking about, like in those slow burn moments, slow burn periods, that you get some weird moments that are just like, okay, there's something going on here, let me keep
yeah.
engaged, so they just felt like with Blackcoat's daughter, it just wasn't as engaging in those moments. So um
There's
well, go ahead.
a scene in particular in this movie that where I feel like that's really felt, where she's outside shoveling the snow,
Mm,
and it's it's simultaneously it's very strange because I did not have this criticism. And also, I mean, there's always that thing. There's the like viewership bias that goes into knowing that you're going to have to talk about something on a podcast.
yeah.
I always watch things a lot more closely than sometimes I would. So there's always the possibility that like I just wasn't thinking about it that hard the other times I saw this movie. But it never bothered me either of those times. But watching back yesterday, it was one of those it's just one of those things where it's like you can tell that he kind of wants to build some tension. And I feel like if this were another shot, like we do have these outdoors shots in other Osgood Perkins movies that are very visually engaging and very tense. And it's like
Hmm.
you can kind of see the building block of that here, but really she's just outside shoveling the
Yeah, she's
snow,
just
you know?
like shuffling. If like there was
Like,
somebody in a
oh,
window or somebody behind a tree or something else like that, that would have kept me engaged.
yeah.
But yeah, no,
It's
I agree. Yeah, it's definitely one of those things. And again, it's so tropey to do those things, but they're tropey for a reason.
but they
So
work.
yeah.
And he
So
does end up being very good at them. Like we know
yes,
that's on the horizon for him.
exactly. Yeah, no, absolutely.
My
So go ahead.
my other big thing, I just knock this out of the way,
Yeah.
and then I'll go back to saying some nice things because I really like this movie. Um, I I have a casting complaint about this
Okay.
movie. Um, I'm bad with age, so that probably, and also I'm a fan of Broadway. So I don't know how much these things kind of filter into my perception of casting in films, probably more than they should. But I don't believe that Emma Roberts looks 90 years older
Oh
than
my
Kiernan
God.
Shipka.
Well,
It's
this is the biggest issue I have with this movie too.
okay.
Because like I get I get that you want to have it be like, I don't know, to portray her as somebody older and everything like that. But 9 years is not going to change somebody that much,
That much.
that she's going to go from looking like Kiernan Shipka to going to look like Emma Roberts. She
I
would still just look like Kiernan Shipka.
I
So
understand that like they had to cast someone different and they're both great performances.
yeah,
So I,
the reason for casting somebody else was because of the twist,
because of the twist.
and
I
that was the
understand
only
that they
reason.
had to do
Yeah.
it, but yeah, I wasn't buying it though. And it's
No, that's the problem. That's, I think, the major issue I have with the movie too, is just because of that twist. Because like you're just like, wait, why? Come on. Like I get the reason why, because it's a twist and blah blah blah, and it would have revealed the twist earlier, blah blah blah.
yeah.
But it's still just like, yeah, but it doesn't make sense this way then. So yeah,
Yeah.
I agree completely.
That just that and I thought that was one of those things that like going in knowing the twist, I was gonna be more okay with it. And I think if anything, it made me less okay with it. Also, the other and this is like a side pet peeve of that one big complaint, but I think Emma Roberts looks more like the other girl than she does Karen
Yeah.
Shipka, which also adds an element of confusion to the casting.
Well, and then it's even funnier too because the dad in this, he says that his daughter, that Emma Roberts looks kind of like his daughter.
Yeah.
And then the mom's like, I don't see it, but whatever. And so it's just, yeah, it was just like I don't know. It's very odd. Um,
Moving into the good stuff for this movie though,
yeah.
to the stuff that I like really, really liked, that monologue from the mom is
Mm,
creepy.
yeah.
The mom gives a great performance in this.
Yeah, Lauren Holly. Yeah, she's really good
Yeah.
in this. Yeah, it's another one of those things where it's an actress who um was is fairly well known for um like uh like in her younger days and then doing this older motherly role which you see again in Long Legs.
Yeah.
Um and so but yeah, no, I thought she was really good. James Remar, like I said, he's doing really good in this. I mean, he's great and everything. um and he's no stranger to horror either. He was just most recently on It Welcome to Derry. um
Oh.
so um but
I would not be able to pick out his name, but he is one of those faces that like
yeah,
every time I see him in something and it's like, oh yeah. And he always is fantastic and stuff, so
yeah, yeah, he's been in a bunch of stuff I couldn't even start to begin to like list off even in just a few. Like I said, he was in Welcome to Derry pretty recently, so that's where you'll see him. But yeah, I mean, he was even in Oppenheimer. Um, apparently, he was in They
yeah.
Will Kill You. I don't remember him being in They Will Kill You. That's funny. Oh, he was the voice of the pig's head in that. But he's been in like so many things. Like just he's constantly acting. Um, so which is great because he was what 1953. He's born in 1953, so he's like 73 right now. So, or will be 73 this year. So he's doing great. But yeah, no, and it like again, it's a fairly small cast. You don't got a lot. I mean, you got all the girls and stuff like that um in the school and everything like that, but that's mostly extras.
Yeah.
Um, it's fairly small primary cast. Um, but I did like I said, I do like the satanic aspect of it, like the demon getting into her and everything like that. The really strong bit about this movie too is, like I said, Emma Roberts' performance is good. I didn't hate it, but she's really good at the very end.
Yeah.
Because like the whole idea of this is that like in the past, um, the character played by Karen Shipka, ends up killing the two nurses and the other girl, decapitates them, and like is you know leaving them as an offering to Satan or whatever. I don't know because it's that part's kind of confusing because you're like, well, but he's already inside of her, so what is the point of that?
Yeah.
Um, but then she comes back all these years later, 9 years later, to do it again,
Yeah.
um, and ends up decapitating the two parents and going down to that same furnace that she went to, but now the furnace is shut down because the school's been shut down. And because you find out that after she'd been shot and taken into custody and everything like that, like Satan or the demon, I think they say it's Satan, he leaves her and doesn't come back. And what she's trying to do is get him to come back. So she's actually trying to redo all this to get him to come back. And then she has this moment at the very end where she's like just like breaking down because he's not there. He's not coming back to her. And so So it's this weird, like, it's this really cool, weird thing where, you wouldn't think somebody would want this, demonic presence in their life again, but it definitely, it because you get this whole sense of this too, because she's waiting for her parents to come and pick her up, and
Yeah.
all of this, like, she's just lonely. And so having this presence inside of her, like, cured that loneliness in this way, because it was with her all the time, and so now she doesn't have it and she wants to get that again. And so it was really, that part of it was really, really strong, I thought. But to get to that point, the story just kind of, it's slow and it gets there and everything like that, but it's good. It's a good payoff for the whole movie. And Emma Roberts pulls that off, like, really well. So I
Uh,
thought that part she was fantastic in. Go ahead.
I think definitely a highlight for both of them.
Yeah.
Both as individual pieces, like as
Yes.
individual performances, but also the way that the characters, because I casting I have my gripes with, but I did really feel that same energy from both halves of that performance. It
Right.
was the thing that kind of unites both of those performances into one character for me, because I also think it's really strong, like in the previous timeline where she's asking the demon not to go.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that was one of the strongest moments of Kiernan Shipka's performance, and it's a really good parallel between the two ladies.
Yeah. It just feels like it didn't necessarily need to be two different actresses. So
Yeah, I have my gripes with that, but I do think it's the moment
yeah.
where it worked the best.
Hmm. I think it probably just would have been better if either they had aged her up more, like if it had been like
Yeah.
20 years later, and then you get a different actress for it, then
Yeah.
that would have made more sense. Um, so I think,
I
either or of that was either that or making Kiernan Shipka's version younger, like a tween or something like that, but then that would have been weird. So um
I also just like throwing this out here. And I know it's a first movie. You've got to get it made. You've got to have like a snappy script, maybe.
mhm.
Um, he maybe doesn't have the confidence in this debut that he's going to have later on in his career. But I'd argue that maybe it didn't need to be a twist at all. It could
Yeah.
have just been Emma Roberts.
Yeah.
Or Kiernan Shipka was a little bit young, maybe, to play both parts, but I
Yeah.
do think it could have just been an Emma Roberts part, and that would have been okay.
Yeah.
Like because I don't think the I and maybe this is just my preferences for slow burn horror showing again. Because if you can create that really tense sense of atmosphere, that's what I'm looking for from a slow burn movie. I
Hmm.
don't need, which I think is why so many of them don't land for me in that final act, you
Yeah.
know? Because usually final acts have like a big dramatic thing, and I don't really need that. I need, like a lesser payoff usually. So
Yeah.
I would have been fine if there was just like no twist, if it
Yeah.
had just been, like if you just focused on creating that sense of atmosphere and making it like really unsettling,
Yeah.
I would have been fine that she just goes back and like if the whole story had been chronological and creepy, I would have been
Yeah.
fine with
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah.
Um, because I was here for it. But and that is kind of the approach that we see him take to other movies later on, and I think it works really well. But
Yeah.
again, I understand if for your first project, if you don't want to be like, it's a story about a girl who doesn't get repossessed. People
Yeah.
are like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. No, it's definitely, it's good for a first movie. It's not, some directors bang it out of the park on their very first one, and you're just like, holy crap. And then, like,
Yeah.
either they continue to do well, or they kind of peter out, or they're kind of up and down the whole time. I think, he is one of those directors that was good in the first one, maintained a good level for, a couple movies. I didn't hear anybody talk necessarily bad about his next two movies after this one, but
Yeah.
by long legs, everybody's like, holy shit, this is like awesome. And so, and it looked interesting, and was very exciting in the trailers and everything. He had good, very good marketing. Um, so it was definitely uh he definitely figured it out and got, by Long Legs, and then really Long Legs, the monkey, and Keeper were all just great. So
Yeah.
um but yeah, it's definitely this was a good one with some good moments, just a little too slow burny, and while I think the payoff is great, it just takes a little bit to get there, and the weird twist is just like that. One thing that really takes me out of the movie, and just like I think that if that again, if maybe she had been older,
Yeah.
to make that make sense in terms of having a different actress. I think otherwise this could have been a potential 3.5, 4-star movie.
Yeah.
But that definitely lowers it just that little bit, just because of that, and just
It's
because
like
again,
just enough to take you out.
yeah, it's just it's so bizarre and weird. And I get it. I do get it. It just like doesn't add an extra 10 years to the character to make it even more, you know, obvious as to why that was necessary. Um,
The
but yeah.
other thing I would have really liked to say, and this is both a complaint and a praise for the film. I love the demon design. I want more of
Mm,
that dude. He was
yeah,
awesome. And
yeah,
sometimes it's like a be careful what you wish for situation, right? Where it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
sometimes like Jaws, the shark
Mhm.
looks great because we don't get to see that much of the shark. I
Yeah,
get it, but I really think in this instance I could have had just a little bit more demon. And not even like super obvious. Like I didn't need to like see his face or anything. I just wanted him to be on screen more often because
yeah,
I think he looked cool.
yeah. No, what they showed of you, because it was mostly either in shadows or just the shadow of him or whatever like that. So it
Yeah.
definitely was like really cool because it had like, wasn't the typical horns or anything. So it was definitely an interesting design for sure. I agree with you.
I
Um,
would have loved to see just a little bit more of that guy because he was awesome. I
yeah.
also wouldn't have wanted him to leave. I would have been like, hey,
Dude, you're cool, man. Just like, just
you're so
keep on.
cool. This
Yeah,
is why I'm never possessed by anything. Because
right. Because you're too willing. Yeah,
yeah,
they don't want people who
I'm
are
too
willing.
easily impressed by the demons.
Yeah. Oh, too funny, too funny. Okay, well, I don't have anything more that I have to say about this movie. Was there anything else that we didn't mention that you wanted to talk about?
Um, no, I think we pretty much covered all of my. I have like a couple other stray notes, but I don't. I was tired when I watched this. I don't know if a lot of these make sense.
That's
So
funny.
I think we're good.
All right. Cool, cool. All right. Well, I appreciate you again coming on the show, and at this late moment to pull my butt out of the fire again. And it's a fire of my own making. I know everybody's just like, whatever, dude. Put out the episodes whenever. I have these on a strict date that I do. So
Yeah.
I have a schedule that I like to keep. Um,
And it only takes one, and then you're off your schedule. I get it.
oh man, like was it a couple of years ago? It was like that. Like I got way off schedule, and I was like people who've been listening this whole time will remember I did just the mini episodes that I was doing with my friend Donna and everything, where it was just the weekly updates of stuff, and I wasn't doing anything about like new movies because I was just like I'm so burnt out and everything. But and I had gotten like wildly off target and stuff, so I was just like I'm just doing these mini episodes because it doesn't matter right now. But no, I've got a lot going on this year in terms of the episode. I've got everything. I plan everything out. Like at the end of the year, I go, these are all the episodes I'm going to do this year, and then it changes like as I go along. There's been some changes to this year's stuff. I've taken some stuff out and put some other stuff in, and rotated some things around and everything. But for the most part, I like to keep it as close to because I like to try to figure out, okay, what am I doing this year? How am I doing it? So, and how will I make it all fit? So, but yeah, no. So I appreciate you coming back on and doing this. It's always great to talk to you though. So, um, and we
Always
will
fun.
get you. Yeah. we'll get you back in a couple of months, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Saving my butt again. Um, but yeah. All right. Well, why don't you let people know where they can find you online or at conventions or, about upcoming books and everything?
Oh yeah. D what day is this coming out? When's
This will be out this will be out on June 3rd. So this coming Wednesday. So
so this weekend I will be at Big Ohio Book Con, and
yay.
then yeah, you can find me online at Blue Sky and Instagram at Cat Voleur, CatVoleur. You can check out my website, catvoleur.com. Pre-order Queer Tastes, and happy Pride Month.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, yeah, definitely. If you're in Ohio, go check out that con. And if do you want to go check out her books? They're very good. I have most, if not all of them. Um, and yeah, no, it's very cool. And thank you again. And we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for listening. Creepy and Geeky is produced and hosted by Robert Clark. If you like what you've heard, please consider giving the show 5 stars and a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And share the podcast on social media to help spread the word. Make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app or at creepyandgeeky.com. You can follow the podcast by going to creepyandgeeky.com and clicking on any of the social links. If you'd like to follow me, you can find my links at geekthulu.com. You can support the podcast by ordering teas and more on TeePublic or by donating to the coffee page. All of the links are in the show notes. Finally, don't forget, stay creepy.